Jules. I'm so excited to be here.
Super fun to just connect. And this, today is such a high frequency day. We were just talking about that. So I think it's so fun that we're just going to connect in this way. And so I think that was just kind of set the space for the, that place of the Trinity or the 33, however you want to see it, is so there's you and there's me and there's the divine, and then we collapse into the one frequency. And so I just love to connect in that space, and then we can just have a really beautiful conversation.
Absolutely. Do you want to do a process or do you just want to have the
I
intention?
think we just did. I think that we just had to acknowledge that that's the space that we're in.
Yeah, I agree with that. Oh, you know what? We wanted to do this Facebook Live because I wanted to tell people about an amazing journey that we've been on in the last few months. And the reason for that is because there's something new coming and we are so excited. But one of the things that has come from our meeting together before we discuss how we met is that we both have a passion for eliminating disease, whether it's on a physical level, emotional level, whatever level it is, but we both have a passion of eliminating that on the planet and literally stepping in to being God realized, or I know you say we break the God code. And I know that sounds, to people listening, that sounds like, what? But but that's pretty much where our conversations have been going. And I know that last year I've been working, sort of just playing around and watching you and just watching the amazing things that you were doing. And there was something in me that just called me to kind of just keep playing and, being in your space. And then it came to my birthday in December, and then I booked a session with you, the Om Codes, and we haven't looked back. And it's just been the most exhilarating journey since. And yeah, do you want to
It
say something?
really has. And as you were speaking, I could just, it's that going back to what this day represents. And we did exactly what is available to so many people, is that we held a really beautiful reflection, invited the divine in, and created something new. And within that space, as we continue to meet each other and repeat that pattern, we just keep getting more. And I truly feel like we have tapped into what I call the miracle pattern. And that's just this space where those limitations of what we conceive as being human are shattered, and we are truly breaking the God code.
Do you want to tell the story of how that came to you about breaking the God code?
It's interesting. Oh gosh, I feel like it's such a long story, but I have always been given sequences or energy patterns and equations. And so I'm given numerology or numerologic codes, or codes and sequences, and then I have to basically tap into the frequency of those numbers and read what it is that they're saying. And so I was given the code 911 almost a year ago, actually right around this time. And it came in such a strange way, and I sat with it, and there was a lot of me that felt like, okay, I understand what this is. And I was on a hike over early spring last year, maybe a month after I had been given it, and I heard a voice say, break the God code. And I knew that it was connected to the 911. And so that is really what we're doing, is I mean, gosh, we could sit here and talk forever about the sequence itself, but really what it is, it's about moving into a level of consciousness that our body holds instead of our mind. And it's within that space that we become divinely perfect, and that have the ability to stop time the way that we know it and actually use time as an experience instead of it creating a timeline for form, if that makes sense.
Mhm. And speaking of time, I know that both of us have been experiencing since last year what you termed as spherical time. And that for me is where I kind of, when I was listening to you, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is exactly what I'm experiencing. Do you want to just talk a little bit about spherical time and what people might be experiencing with that?
Oh my gosh, I this is actually a passion of mine. So last year, in January of 2000 or 2020 is when time collapsed. It was right around the end of January. We saw evidence of that, of course, right around early March, all the way through the end of April. And at the end of April, time actually started again. But when it started, it went from a linear timeline to a spherical timeline. Another way of saying that is that time restarted so that we could experience time, but we will never be in linear time again. And we are programmed to exist in linear time. Uh, and it worked for a reason until we kind of hit this place and where we're moving in human evolution. And now, because time reset in spherical time, we are actually existing in a frequency pattern of unity consciousness. Because if you think about unity consciousness, there's no concept of time. So it gives us the ability to really tap into that limitlessness that we're in just by experiencing life in linear time. And what people would experience in that is it's hard to make long term plans. It's hard to think, well, what's my 5 year? All those things that we used to do all the time because we were always jumping into the future in order to create something. But now that future is in spherical time, so it's harder to connect to those frequency patterns because they don't exist.
And I love that because one of the things that that brings is the fact it's kind of a little bit of a paradox because you might think, oh, if we move out of linear time and you're not creating those 5 year goals and all of that, well, how are you going to be productive? But actually, stepping into this space is beyond productive
That
and
just gave me
magical.
chills.
And
When you said that, my whole body was like,
and it's like that's where the miracles are happening. And you and I both been experiencing some amazing things and would love to share with the public, in these sequential sort of Facebook lives that we're going to be doing every week. Um, and yeah, I'm so excited about it. I almost want to just kind of go blah, like, and say it all, but it's like it would be too much. And I know that we'll have to do it in a sequence. So I'm excited about that.
I think for today, it's just about kind of tapping into the possibilities. It's the what is actually possible. And then every time that we bring in a limitation around that is to recognize that as what we would call the old paradigm, and how we have more than ever the ability to truly become divine form. And what does that mean, and how do we actually move into that? And that's what we are are in right now. That's what we're experiencing, and we're learning to master it. And there is a space within that it is time to share it with others. And so it's creating a reflection of an agreement that yes, we can do this, and that's what we've done for each other. And it's just time to start inviting more people into that agreement to make it stronger, so that others can actually experience what we've experienced.
I love that because it's not about what, it's not about just us. It's not about just the one person. It's about the we. It's about the collective. And that's one thing I've always loved about what you do. It's like also, you're always bringing community into it because the emphasis is really to know that we're all one, and the more of us actually do that, it's that powerful effect of the group that can bring a huge shift in the collective consciousness in the morphic field. So I love that.
I do too. And so let's just all like just take a moment to kind of connect to this beautiful frequency pattern that's being created and just allow it to kind of take on its own intelligence just by agreeing that we're ready for the next, that we're ready to move into this frequency pattern of what it means to be in divine form or to break the God code.
Mm, I love that.
Definitely feel it.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much.
It's so fun. Just, I mean, that's what I love about this. It's truly, it's like we don't even have to do anything anymore. We just have to say it and it's done. It's so fast. And I mean, just think of the huge changes that we can not only make on a personal level, but on a universal level with tapping in to this frequency. And the wonderful thing about it that I'm getting is that it takes a certain frequency to be able to tap into it. So it's so sacred and so protected. I don't really like using that word, but it's so held in that divine space that nothing can rock it, nothing can alter it. It's, we say sometimes that when we're in the frequency of the divine and we're always choosing from the place of the divine, that you cannot fail. I feel like this frequency pattern that we're creating is just that. It's like you cannot fail in this space.
Yeah. And we just, exactly what we just experienced right now. Just want everyone to just kind of feel that because that's where we're going to be exploring and bringing in more and more of this every week. So just tune in.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Jules. Bye for now.